Hello everyone, SquaredCircle Wrestling is back with another episode which includes real reason behind CM Punk's AEW firing. Meeting between CM Punk, Tony Khan and the Elite was reportedly called off. AEW Backstage reaction to CM Punk's firing. Wrestling veteran takes shots on current WWE Women's Champion. Jim Ross talks edge in AEW. John Cena says he's retiring soon. And much more. You can check the complete list with time chapters in the description box below. Before we start, make sure to subscribe to our channel for all the latest news. Our top story for today looks at real reason behind CM Punk's AEW firing. As the news broke out earlier, CM Punk has been terminated of his contract by AEW. Over the last several days, there have been different versions of story of what happened between Punk and Jack Perry backstage at AEW All-In. Dave Meltzer has multiple versions of the story from all sides in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter. Meltzer tweeted the results of the investigation that led to Punk's firing, and also claimed that the neutral witness statements were the main cause behind Punk's firing by Tony Khan. Meltzer stated, another version, and this would be a neutral source who was not a wrestler but was there and witnessed it, and his version was that right after Perry came to the back, Punk went nose to nose with him aggressively and asked him if he had a problem. That person said Perry said he was just looking to get heat as a heel. Punk shoved him hard. Perry got in his face, and in that version Punk sucker punched him and went for a choke. People immediately broke it up and Khan was yelling at Punk to let him go. Next up, AEW Backstage reaction to CM Punk's firing. PW Insider provided an update regarding Backstage reaction to the release of CM Punk. It was reported that there are mixed reaction from the wrestlers backstage about situation involving Punk. According to PW Insider, the backstage reaction to Punk's firing is a mixed bag depending on who you ask. The reactions from talent depend on the person. Some are really down on it, while others feel it was the right decision. There is a middle party who are just happy that AEW President Tony Khan finally made a decision, and they are ready to move on and bring the attention of the wrestling world back to the company and its television shows. Next up, meeting between CM Punk, Tony Khan and the Elite was reportedly called off. According to Nick Hausman of House of Wrestling, there was a meeting scheduled to take place prior to the Wembley Stadium show that would have included Punk, Tony Khan and the members of the Elite. According to Nick Hausman, this was an attempt to have the hatchet buried between Punk and members of the Elite. It was reported, House of Wrestling has learned that a sit-down with the relevant members of the Elite, CM Punk and Tony Khan, was scheduled to take place last week, ahead of AEW All in London, but was called off at the last minute by the Elite's camp. From what we understand, it was going to take place in Atlanta, and Tony Khan would have been present. This abrupt cancellation appears to have added to Punk's overall frustrations with the situation heading into All-In, where he ended up getting into an altercation with Jack Perry. Next up, Eric Bischoff comments on AEW firing CM Punk. Former WCW Senior Vice President and WWE Hall of Famer Eric Bischoff has commented on AEW's firing of CM Punk from the company. Bischoff, who has often been vocal about the company and often criticized Tony Khan's handling of situations with Punk, posted on Twitter saying, "This time Tony Khan made the right call." He tweeted, "Just heard the news. In my opinion, Tony Khan made the right call. A tough one, but the right one. #respect. Next up, did AEW All-In Backstage incident overshadowed the record-breaking show? AEW commentator Nigel McGuinness sat down with Wrestling News co Steve Fall after the All-In pay-per-view, where he shared his thoughts about the backstage incident that happened between CM Punk and Jack Perry that overshadowed the record-breaking Wembley show. He said, "Yeah, it's a complex situation, isn't it? That's arguably the problem with social media, is that a few voices can make a lot of noise. For someone who saw how much work went into that show, the prestige and what it meant for not just me, but all the other people on the show, to be talking about anything other than the show, then it's a bit of a slight, certainly, but that's the nature of human beings. Would I prefer that if something happens backstage, it isn't immediately on the internet? Absolutely. There was an era and a time where if that happened, they'd have found out who did it, and they wouldn't be in the company anymore. Let's put it that way." Next up, Mercedes Money was originally set to have a match at AEW All-In. Former WWE Women's Champion Sasha Banks, currently known as Mercedes Money, was seen at the AEW All-In enjoying the show live while fans rejoiced. AEW fans expected to see Mercedes on AEW, given AEW's partnership with New Japan. She unfortunately missed the crossover pay-per-view The Forbidden Door due to injury. This past weekend, she appeared at the All-In event at the Wembley Stadium as a part of the audience. According to a latest report coming from Wrestling Observer newsletter, Mercedes was expected to wrestle on the show if she was medically cleared, and she is likely to perform in AEW in the future as per the report, considering she was shown multiple times on the camera. It was stated, Mercedes Money was shown in the crowd twice. The story we had heard was that she was likely to wrestle on this show before her injury. Being shown twice indicates that she's probably going to do at least some dates here upon her return. Next up, wrestling veteran takes shots on current WWE Women's Champion. wrestling veteran Conan, on a recent episode of the Keepin' It 100 podcast, reveals that he feels WWE Women's Champion Io Sky does not have an interesting character in her current run in WWE. He also mentioned that Sky lacks charisma even though her current storyline caught his attention when she cashed in the Money in the Bank contract. He felt that her friendly squabbles with Bayley gave her character some depth, but she is yet to morph into a compelling personality on WWE TV. He said, "She has no charisma, and I am into her storyline now. Well, I was into it because she just cashed in that Money in the Bank thing. But they are separating her and Bayley, and it's kind of funny how her and Bayley were going back and forth and doing one-upmanship. But yeah, she's not an interesting character whatsoever." Next up, Jim Ross talks Edge in AEW. WWE Hall of Famer and AEW commentator Jim Ross, speaking on the latest installment of his Grilling JR podcast, spoke about the rumors of 11 times world champion Edge leaving WWE and joining All Elite Wrestling. In the interview, he told that he doesn't expect Edge to come to AEW. He said, "In all the time that I was around the talent this past weekend, I never heard one talent ask me about Edge. It just didn't come up. It was business at hand to take care of. Maybe after the show at the after party, which I did not attend. It'd be great. I haven't given it much thought. How about Edge and Kenny Omega? Edge and Will Ospreay? There are a million ways to monetize this potential, but I don't have any inside information. I don't know if it's even feasible. I have heard, through the grapevine, that WWE has an offer on the table for him that is significant, as it should be. I don't know. I think it would be a long shot at very best that Edge comes to work at AEW." Next up, John Cena says he's retiring soon. Following his WWE return on Friday night's episode of SmackDown, the 16-time world champion John Cena acknowledged that he likely doesn't have much time left during his WWE career. The leader of Cenation, while speaking to Kathy Kelly in a backstage interview, said he knows his swan song in WWE is coming soon. He said, "Every single chance I get to go out there, it becomes more and more special. There's no denying the fact that I'm 46 and staring down 47. I've been here for over 2 decades, so as I've said before out there in the ring. The last one is not tonight, but I know it's soon." Next up, Zelina Vega talks about Malakai Black returning to WWE. WWE star and LWO member Zelina Vega opened up about the possibility of working alongside her husband Malakai Black in WWE. Zelina and Aleister Black previously worked together in WWE from 2017 until Vega's release in 2020. After a few months, Black was also released from his WWE contract. Aleister Black signed with All Elite Wrestling in July 2021 with the new name Malakai Black. That same month, Zelina Vega returned to WWE. Zelina Vega, in a recent interview with Gorilla Position, was asked about the potential of reuniting with her husband in WWE. She said, "It's not a conversation that happens, but I think it's something that, anytime I can spend extra with my husband, it always makes me a happier person. We've been trying to build our dream house for 3 years, and we finally got to do that. Moving us 2 and our 7 cats into that house recently in the past week or so has been crazy, so any moment that I get to spend with him extra would be just perfect. So I would love to be able to work alongside with him for sure again." And that is all for today's news. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel SquaredCircle Wrestling for all the latest updates.